Morning, guys. So we're going to be looking at chapter 7, which is environmental planning and management of tourism. Okay, now I'm going through this because just to make sure that you guys are reading. Okay, now chapter 7 is more concerned about the environmental, how the government is planning to look after the environment. Okay, so what are the things, and we're looking at the rules and regulations. We're looking at the priorities of the government. Also, we're looking at some ways that the government is trying to protect the environment. Okay, so legislation means law. Okay, legislation here. Environmental audits and management system, how they do auditing to look after the environment for companies and all that stuff. Okay, codes of conduct in tourism. Okay, the roles of different stakeholders in environmental planning and management. Okay, so when we're talking about stakeholders, we're talking about those people who are involved in tourism. So we're looking at the government, the non-government sectors, which are the NGOs. Okay, and we're looking at the private sectors. Private sectors are those who are the business people. Okay, hotels, restaurants, right? Hosts are obviously the locals, you should know that by now, and then tourists, of course. Now the government, okay, these are the government's roles, or the things that they have to do and protect. Okay, national security, public health. There are three priorities here. Economic growth, employment. So national security, like say if there's any war, they've got to look after the country first. Public health, like what's going on right now. Okay, so they have to put that first. That's on the first priority. Economic growth, okay, anything to do with the economy, especially in Malaysia, they need to kind of work on the economy now, right? Because we've got a lot of debts. Now, then you see distribution of wealth and regional development for any kind of development. These are all their roles, their jobs, okay? But if you look at the environmental concern, it is not on the top of the list, all right? But they are doing something lah, basically. Now the reason why it's not on top of the list is because we have a lot of debts, and a lot of countries have a lot of debts. So what happens is any opportunity for them to have any economic growth or money coming into the country, they would do first. So environmental, maybe later. So if there is an opportunity, like say a company from other countries, right, would want to invest in our country, right, and they would want to develop, okay, so they have an open land like that, or not an open land, an available land where you need to go and cut the trees and all that stuff for development. That, because economic growth is more important than environment, yes, they'll take that first. Okay, you understand? We have a lot of debts, so we need to do that. Now these are the policies and legislative measure. Okay, so meaning what this is what are they doing, what kind of laws are they doing, okay, to put this. So they have protected areas like national park. We have that as well, right? Areas that are protected. I'll show you a video. I mean, I've attached a video for you to have a look at what does protected areas mean. Okay, land zoning, carrying capacity, limit development. Okay, and then environmental impact analysis and environmental management policy. Okay, environmental auditing. Right, so these are the things. We're not going to be looking at all of this, okay, but I want you to read it. We're not going to be looking at all, and I'm going to be, I think, focusing on the most important ones, right? But doesn't mean that if I skip it, you should skip it too, because maybe there's short answers or whatever. Okay, that you need to focus. Now, these are the classification of protected areas. Now, just now I said the protected areas are attached the definition. The protected areas means land or landmark or places that needs protection, okay, from, doesn't matter lah, like hunters, it could be even these particular areas means a lot to the country, they represent the country, so they need to protect it. Okay, so we've got multiple use management areas, we've got natural biotic, protected landscape. There's a lot of this that yes is rather important. Yes, do you need to know? Yes, you need to know this. Okay, so we're going to go one by one. Scientific reserve or strict nature reserve. This is a place where it's only accessible or only for science research. Okay, so it's not for tourism. Okay, so this particular area is really protected only for those people who need to learn more about the environmental or the ecological or whatever lah, ecological system and anything like that, right? So it's specific strictly for those purposes. Okay, that's one. So this is one protected area called scientific reserve. Okay, like Danum Valley. Now, if you don't know where Danum Valley is actually located in Sabah. Okay, so it is one of the places that's protected. That now it is open also for tourists, but it is very expensive and not a lot of tourists because they have carrying capacity. Only certain amount that of tourists are allowed. Okay, so Google that, Danum Valley. Okay, we also have national parks. This is also a protected area. Okay, so basically this area, it's divided into scenic areas, educational, scientific, and recreational use. Okay, ignore the background sound. That's my cats trying to get out. And these are the benefits and cost of national park. Now, national park is good. Okay, obviously we know that it protects the wildlife, landscape, and also give access for the people to learn more about the environment. Okay, offer employment, but also it is also not good because if it's not managed properly, right? Because you already open it to the tourists. If it's not managed properly, because it's huge, national parks are usually big, not managed properly, it can be damaging the environment. Okay. Because you put anywhere that you put national park, the name national park automatically is like a place for tourists. So when there's a lot of tourists, what happens? There's also potential damages, right? Or overcrowding, or environmental, maybe rubbish or stuff like that lah. Right? And also because they privatize the place, the locals or those indigenous people, the Orang Asli, who used to go around this area and hunt and all this stuff, right? They are not allowed anymore. So that's also a cost. It's a good thing that they're not allowed to hunt, but this is their way of life, and who are we to say that it's wrong? Okay, so these are the benefits and the cost of national park. Now we know we have a lot of national parks here in Malaysia. Okay, one being in in Pahang. Okay, and then also in Sarawak and also in Sabah. Okay. Natural monuments and natural landmark is another protected area. Okay, as you can see from here, you automatically know that it is Fuji Mountain. in Japan, because that's the landmark in Japan. Same thing with here. I know you don't know this, but this is the Uluru. Although how many times I showed you in tourism geography, okay, this is Uluru, or the A Rocks, which is located in Australia. So this is like automatically when they see this natural landmarks, then you know that place, right? So they are also protected areas. Okay, they protect and preserve national significant natural features. Mount Kinabalu, you know, right? Okay. Now another one is managed nature reserve or wildlife sanctuary. Okay, so this one, the one that's very famous, is like the safari in Kenya. Okay, so they look after the species, the like say elephant sanctuary, so obviously they look after the elephant lah. Like in China, the panda sanctuary, something like that. Yeah. Okay, so we have also in Sabah, which is the Kinabatangan Wildlife Sanctuary. Okay. Now protected landscape, like I said just now, it just protects the place because of the landscape itself, like the natural landscape. So that's one. Resource reserve is to protect or sustain the natural resources of that area. So meaning that particular area, they identify that it has animals and all this other stuff, so they do not want to have any kind of development in that particular area. Okay. All right, natural biotic area. This is a little bit different. Now this one, they have a specific area where orang asli or the indigenous people are from, right? So what happens is they block that area. You can see. They kind of close that area for these people. No development should be given there. Let them live their normal life. Okay, so they have their normal activities. They want to hunt in that particular area. There's no type of development. We don't go there and teach them about, you know, go to school, because we want to preserve their nature, their normal way of living. All right, so they have, it's called natural biotic area for the people, for the orang asli. Okay, so they are allowed to hunt and all. Okay, so about the environment, what is the government doing? They're having land use planning, carrying capacity. Now this, again, like I said, the carrying capacity, I've uploaded it, so you need to watch it just so that you know what it means. Okay, there are 2 videos. Okay, limit of acceptance change, we're not going to be talking about that so much. And environmental impact analysis, or EIA, not so much. They're just looking at, if you build this place, okay, especially for the EIA, if you build this place, what kind of impact? Okay, so there's a group of people who's going to do analysis. We're not going to be looking at that, but you should read. Okay, land use planning. Okay, it's like they actually have like a whole land, so they divide it into sections. It's called zoning. Okay, it's called zoning. So they divide it into sections, right? So this particular area, for example, I can't see it. Okay, so this particular area, for example, is for recreational. This particular area is only for scientific studies, and this particular area is for certain like recreational or something like that. Okay, so this is called zoning. So this is one way that the government is protecting certain areas, the natural environment. Okay, now carrying capacity. Carrying capacity is basically by definition as the maximum number of people who can use a site. Okay, the maximum number of people who can use that particular place without an unacceptable alteration, without changing anything to the physical environment. okay, and without unacceptable decline in the quality of the experience gained by visitors. Meaning, how many people can go to that place or have enough resources to go to that place, okay, without damaging the place for the future people. Okay, does that make sense? I hope the other videos will actually help. So for example, like say, I don't know whether I told you this, but in Sipadan, it's an island, okay, a small island. Last time, only a total of like say 200 people that's allowed on the island, okay. Before, basically only 200 people for that island who can actually come in, because the island's pretty small, okay. But now, and when Sipadan became very popular, a lot of people want to come for, you know, to yeah, you can even get married there and all that stuff. A lot of Japanese tourists and a lot of tourists so they open the doors because of greed, because people want to get a lot of money, okay, for economic growth. So last time there's no resort. Now there's a few resorts there, and one resort in that particular resort can occupy 500 people already, okay. If we have, they already established that that place can only fit 200 people, and if we have more, it can damage the environment. So true enough, the place is no longer in the map, meaning to say it's no longer a very beautiful place like last time, okay. And because of that, you know, we need to, it's really important for us to understand carrying capacity of a certain area. Like say the carrying capacity of B310, okay, how many people can stay in that place comfortably, okay, right? So something like that. You need to watch the videos. Okay, factors that influence carrying capacities of tourism destination. How fragile the landscape is, okay. These are factors that they can distinguish. Oh, okay, so this place, we need to have a carrying capacity. We need to know how many people can actually go into this place without damaging it, okay, for the future people. Existing level of tourism, what kind of development that's already there, okay, infrastructure or any sewage facilities, what do they have already there existing? The number of visitors, okay, that usually comes there, and the type of tourists and their behavior. Okay, so certain areas, like say where they have a lot of carrying capacity, are obviously those places where it is more towards ecola. Okay. The degree of emphasis placed on the environmental education and of tourists and local people. Okay. Like say in Bhutan. Okay, do you know where Bhutan is? Bhutan is here. Alright, this place, this is India, this is China, okay, so it's somewhere near Nepal and all, so it's around here, okay. Now Bhutan is called the happy place because they look at they look after the environment as well as the culture, okay. Now not a lot of people can go in because they stop people from coming in. They don't want a lot of culture being influenced to their people. Right, this is one place that it's not polluted. The air is not polluted, right? So it's really, really like really good place to go. So they have a carrying capacity, like how many people can actually go, and they are managing it well because to go in it's pretty expensive. Now, limit of acceptance change. This means it relies upon identifying the desired social and environmental condition of the area, okay, meaning what kind of change is acceptable, okay. If say a group of people go into that area, obviously any kind of development, obviously you will have some change to that place, right? So what is acceptable? So like this one, I'm not going to be concerned more of this, but this is basically when you develop something and then a group of people who's like say an organization will then assess, okay, or you will assess, you develop the place, you will assess like say, okay, so if I develop this place, what are the potential negative impacts that will come because of this. Okay, so types of tourism development that would be subjected to environmental analysis, impact analysis, is hotels, you know. So if I build that hotel, I have to also predict of the future negative impact that me building that hotel there. So one negative impact is sewage or waste or something like that lah. Right, so these are ways of them identifying what measures and all that stuff lah. Okay, the stages, stage 1, stage 2. Okay, it can be a little bit pricey. Okay, and then because you're doing it yourself, it can be biased. So meaning you say there's not going to be negative impact. If it's your hotel, you're going to do assessment by yourself, and so you say there's not going to be any because blah 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 blah, right? So it could be biased. And this, because of the environmental impact, it could also analysis, it could also delay the project. So these are a lot of the criticism that based on for that particular system. Okay, so these are the role of private sectors. Okay, they need to, private sectors meaning the hotels and all, they need to have environmental audit. Okay, when they're developing something. Okay, they have to assess the system, testing the system, and certification of the result. Okay, so I think this particular one is gonna get other people to come in to do it for them. Okay, and then they get certification saying that the result is yada 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 whatever lah. Okay, so basically this is what an eco audit is. You can read that on your own. This one as well you can read. Okay, so the benefits of using EMS, which is environmental management system. Okay, it reduces the risk of financial liability, meaning at the end of the day, if you do it, it's going to save money a lot, because if it doesn't work out, right, you have to, if say the government says, oh okay, you didn't do environmental ni, and then now we're going to shut down the business. Okay, so improve customer relationship, reduce operating costs. Okay, so this one I don't usually have in my finals, but please read it and understand it. Okay, could be short answer, I'm not sure. Okay, so this one is a famous question as well. Code of conduct for tourism. What is the code of conduct? You know, when you go to a place and then you see they say there's a code of conduct. Okay, take pictures only, take only pictures and leave only footsteps, like that lah. What you should and should not do. Okay, the objective, what's the reason for anyone to have code of conduct for tourism? It serves as a catalyst for dialogue, meaning a communication between government agencies, industries, and also NGOs. Okay, it serves as a catalyst. Okay, and then it creates awareness within the industry, right? It heightened awareness among international and domestic visitors, okay, about the importance of appropriate behavior with respect to both natural and cultural environmental environment they experience. Okay, this one is pretty important, huh? So you better read all. All right, sensitive host population to the importance of environmental protection and the host-guest relationship. Encourage cooperation among industry sectors. Okay, so that is chapter 7. Please watch the video as well. Okay, the other videos that I've attached, and then post your forum there. Thank you. Have a good day. We'll do chapter 9 again, but please read the chapters.